Forbidden West, again, we're pretty much at the end of the game. All we got left are these couple side quests that we're going to do. I'm going to try to finish them as quickly as possible and maybe try to still finish the game tonight. We'll see.
Hey,
Or today. I think for sure we'll finish the game by tonight.
I'll be there as soon as I can.
Like, I'll be very surprised if we don't. But, maybe even finish it in this recording session.
I'm here.
Probably not, though, realistically.
Past
Again,
the
I'm
machine
probably only going to record
I
for
made
another,
it.
like, 2 hours at this point,
Alright.
so... I doubt we
talk
can
to that
do the
diviner?
4 side quests and
Yes.
then also
He's
the final
right
main
over
quest
there.
in that time. We'll see.
Diviner Alva, what are you doing back in Landfall? And with the living ancestor?
We're looking for the At-Bay Research Center, where Leviathan was developed. The legacy tells us it's somewhere in the city.
Alva mentioned you've been collecting data in the area. Do you know where it is?
Yes, I stumbled across it, but there was no data there, only crumbling ruins.
Tell us anyway. We might be able to find something you missed.
Please, don't trouble yourself. I assure you, our search was very thorough.
You're hiding something.
What? That is absurd. A diviner must only speak truth, as you're well aware.
It's probably
You're
chilling. right?
worried you found something dangerous. Something compromising on Eileen Sasaki?
Keep your voice down.
Look, I get it, Nirik. You want to make it back to your family, so it's safer to turn a blind eye. But think of Leviathan. How it could help everyone. Isn't that why we're here? Don't let fear deny us that.
Very well. The facility's just south of here along the shore. But even if you find a way to fix Leviathan, it's sure to be shrouded in that which is forbidden.
Too often the truth is forbidden. Come on, let's go.
Okay. Forbidden Legacy.
Hey, the tour went well, I take it.
Actually, yeah, I guess we're good. No talking? Fuck you too, then.
Not bad with that diviner back there. You've come a long way since we first met.
And Nirik's like I used to be, terrified of a misstep. And with the Overseers, he has every right to be. But what I've seen and learned since the greenhouse, it's so much more than what we're permitted. Diviners are supposed to seek the truth, and yet so much is kept from us. I'm tired of... That should be the facility ahead.
Where is
We
this?
need to find a way in.
Up here.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to follow you there. Aloy, why is the ground shaking?
That's not good, whatever it is.
Whoa,
We'll have to take it out if we want to find that thing.
okay. I'm with you.
Oh, what is it weak to? Oh, it's weak to everything. Well. Alright, let's listen to the podcast. Oh wait, I gotta respond to text. shit. God damn it. There we go.
Being ostracized
This is
early
almost
has
done.
now made
I
Jess
think after I
potentially
listen
either
to
overcorrect or
players.
over-explain when something goes sideways, which is making it worse somehow. So it's definitely not a spot you want to find yourself in, and I feel bad for Jess. But also, it has made me feel like at this point, Jess's best shot is to win the veto. Win the next HOA, try and get something going, and then still be nominated the week after that. So I'm not loving where Jess is at right now. And I know there are big fans. I hope their experience is better, but it's feeling a little weak at the moment.
Yes. So that's about where we stand in the house so far. Of course, we'll learn a lot more throughout the day. Today, we'll get the nominations.
Wait, why isn't it?
Once we get nominations, we're likely to
Fuck.
talk about like where the vote's going to be, calling on their connections, alliances, and we'll see. We'll see how the week plays out. Last season, the first week was pretty quiet for the first few days until we realized just how much we were going to see the Sunsetters in the mines. And then it got a little whack.
What the fuck? I'm missing another
So
shot.
we'll see if this is going to be a little bit smoother here for the Fancast, or if they are equally as decisive. But that's pretty much what we got. Okay?
First thing, we'll take indecisive, always. More fun for us. Two more things I wanted to bring up. One was that Helena earlier today, like maybe did it all. Helena was alone in the hot tub area, reciting days, one of the comps, came second in the comp, and then in the hot tub area, there's pictures of all like old scenes from the show. So like there's a picture of Deshaun winning, there's a picture of Spicy V in the outside comp that she won, there's a picture of Paris and Kayla. So she's reciting, okay, pink rain, yellow rain, this one. So she's doing homework, she's doing a little sneak study, which I do love from Helena, and love seeing that from her. And then the other thing is, this is for comedy, but I think, and then, you know, it was like a blinking existence, I'm definitely gonna put attention on it. Kyle worked out in jean shorts, denim shorts for like 2 minutes. Go back and find it, it'll be a funny story.
Shorts. Yeah. Here you go. Doing some more pull-ups. So, yes, that's what we have for you today. I will, of course, be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. to update everything that happens today on the Big Brother Canada 10 live feed. And then, again, I'm going to be talking to Helena as well. So, be on the lookout for that next interview. And we'll have, of course, also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/AaronArmstrong. Hanging out, watching episodes that we live last night, watching as well. So make sure you follow my Twitch channel so you can be alerted when I'm going live. More videos, some good stuff is going down, so it'll be a good notification for you. And you can find me on Twitter as well, @ArmstrongAaron. Check out the Raised by Wolves podcast, recaps. Check out the Aaron Show with Ty, our reigning
Years
champion.
ago, I still realized that
And
now.
that's what we got. So yeah, we're
I think find me on twitch.tv/Puya will be live streaming tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Come check us out. Find me on Twitter @Ism. I mean, the first couple weeks of Fees are my favorite time of the year, so I'm going to watch all of it, as much of it as I can. But, while I'm neglecting my partner and stuff, the feeds, other stuff I will be doing with my partner is the Masked Singer podcast. Coming back next week, season 7 is going to be going on. Here's the Week of the Survivor, so I will be talking about all of that with Liana Moore. Shout out Liana. And I also have the Bel Air podcast going on right now with Michelle over on Puerto Rico. We're talking about the show Bel Air. That's on Peacock. It's been a good time there. Last but not least, 90 Day Fiancé.
Pretty sure I had that,
Going
to be
strong.
honest.
Me and Rob have been talking about it. We've got the league.
Oh, that killed it.
Down it goes.
We power rank all the couples. The power rankings are wild. Way more fluctuation than the
You
stock
should
watch
be
would
able
ever
to
do.
look around for
Like,
that
there's
data
been a
now.
couple that were 6th on our rankings that are now 1st. Within 2 episodes back. So, a lot happens there. Check us out over there as well. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and see all of you next time.
Oh, is it just the open?
Through here.
After you.
How'd it go?
Oh fuck, my own video comes up.
Man said there'd be ice cream. Oh. Forgot your toothbrush. Alright, guys.
Time for a swim.
At least the water's not freezing.
What else can they listen to? Oh yeah, no pillars. 4 pillars. Actually, I was listening. Something I was listening to last night. Actually, I was re-listening to their podcast about Horizon before it came out, with random side quests to see how much of that actually ended up coming true. Some of it did, some of it didn't.
Our audience should know what we're on about. They might not know what a triangle is, right?
No one cares about it anymore. It's over. It's dead. We don't
I'm sorry,
have to bring it up every time.
it's
Doesn't have
burned
to be
into
a
my brain,
reference.
alright? Odyssey broke me, okay?
But the interesting thing about it is, after Zero Day, Ted Faro didn't go to this place called Elysium, where a bunch of the people who worked on Zero Dawn lived out the remainder of their lives. He didn't live at Gaia Prime with the Alphas. He had his own deluxe personal bunker called Thebes. So for my money, what you're looking at in that part of the trailer
Less of a
is that
climb, I
bunker.
bet.
So I think
Come
that
on,
door is
let's check
essentially
the upper
the
floors.
final resting place of Ted Faro, and there's no telling what you're going to find in there. But for those people who want some more Ted Faro, I
You
think you're going
okay?
to get that. I don't
On
think
every
he sent the
expedition,
signal.
the soldiers would lay down walkways
yeah, I just
and
think they're long
barriers
dead.
first to protect us diviners. But this is actually kind of fun.
Personally.
What about Elizabeth? Like, obviously we found out a lot. She was such a huge focus of Zero Dawn. Do you think she still has a role to play in Forbidden West?
I do. There's. I'm
console.
personally hoping that we find out more about the company she founded after she left Faro, which is called Miriam Technologies. So I'm hoping that we find
The
like
data
a
on
real.
Leviathan isn't here. There's some kind of log.
Delete the database. But Miss Sasaki, when you look at the reports, 3,000 exhibiting symptoms. Over 400 dead. The data's clear. Omarama is contaminating the water supply, promoting bacterial growth. And with Leviathan based on the same architecture,
You're a smart kid. Top of your class, right? My father built this company thanks to world-class talent like you. And you know what else is world-class? Our legal team. So unless you want to spend the rest of your career in some dead-end, underfunded public research institute, you'll delete that database.
So I guess
And
Ben
forward
wants
all
all of
data
this
on
stuff.
Leviathan to my office.
yes, ma'am.
That was her. The ancestor. Eileen Sasaki. Hundreds dead. And she knew their system was to blame, but she had the truth erased. Were all the ancestors like this? Selfish, ruthless, immoral? And yet we hold them up as paragons of enlightenment and virtue. Given what we've learned, I don't even know if Leviathan will work.
Hold on. Let's not give up just yet. You said before that the old ones use Leviathan to control flooding. Which means it probably worked. We'll know more when we find the data on it. The recording mentioned a copy was sent to Eileen's office.
To their corporate headquarters. There. Let's go. It shouldn't take us long to get to the tower.
Lead on.
Wait, where'd she go? Oh.
So what was that other system the recording mentioned? Omuramba?
The legacy tells us it was the predecessor to Leviathan, a system that manipulated floods to bring life to a barren desert.
Mine seemed to know a lot about this ancestor.
Diviners spent years trying to figure out how to restore Leviathan. We found a lot of data on Eileen Sasaki in the process. Though, now I wonder how much of it is actually true.
Entrance is blocked. Gonna have to find another way in.
The soldiers built a path on the nearby ruin. Might be able to cross over from there.
Lead the way.
Fuck off, game. Oh, fuck off.
I think this is as far as our soldiers got.
We'll have to climb higher to get into the tower.
I'll follow your lead.
So we're like right next to the relic ruin.
Who's trying to
Fuck
pull
off.
that?
Ruin of that Aloy can find, because as much as she's interested in finding out more about the world and saving the world, I think it's still a prevalent theme for her that she knows who Elizabeth is, but she wants to find out more about Elizabeth. So I think that we're definitely going to get some more background information on Dr. Sobek, and I think that overall, she's just, especially with a bunch of the green robotics and trying to bring the world back, like her fingerprints are everywhere. And in fact, going back to Vast Silver, there's pretty decent evidence, or at least connections, that I would say that
You doing okay,
Elizabeth
Olga?
Sobek worked on Vast Silver.
Yes.
So I think that she can be intertwined in that, because, you know, she was at the forefront of artificial intelligence at that time, and I think that if you were going to pick a lead for that project, and Pharaoh, like before he ruined the world, his company was actually responsible for a lot of what brought the world back from the die-off in the
I don't think
clawback
so.
decade.
But we'll
So
have to be
I would
careful.
not be surprised if Vast Silver was a Pharaoh
How are
Automated
we going
Solutions
to get
project.
across?
I would not be surprised at all
Well, that beam
if
looks
Vast Silver
promising.
was worked on by Elizabeth Sobek. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a really big key in either how to shut it down or how to get that person to help you. So I do think
This
we're going
is
to get more
a
Elizabeth in this
lot
game.
higher up
I
than
think
I
as well
thought.
because the story trailer, like, I think they've not forgotten about Elizabeth, because the story trailer starts with, like, Aloy saying, I'm running out of time, Elizabeth. Like, there's still that connection there. It's not like her story was done and, like, that's forgotten about and it's in the past now because the Rise of Zero was done. It's like, it carries into this game. Elizabeth's still prominent for Aloy, so if she's prominent for the story, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And I love Dr. Sobek as a character, so I'm always
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, she's fantastic.
What do you feel is, I guess, and this is sort of
Oh, we have the element of surprise.
Well, like we've talked about a lot of very specific things. It's
Or
AI,
we could
like
sneak by and,
where
you know,
what's sort of leading,
not
who's the
fall
cause,
off the tower.
this, that, and the other. What do you feel is the overarching purpose of this series? Like, where do you think? Because I feel like it's a sequel that's going to show you, like, what's the overarching importance? Because when you look at it in the vacuum, what we've got from the story trailer, in some ways you've got to think it's a lot of similarities to the story structure of the first game, where there's obviously the silence and interaction. And can you trust him? Can you not trust him? You've got some sort of rebel faction that's more of like in the tribal political world that's happening right now, that event with the storms and stuff. And then you have this overarching old world Elizabeth,
Up this
like
way.
the guy out, like all of that stuff. What's going on there? It feels like it's still covering all of those bases. What do you feel is going to be the important through line that's going to lead into a third game, if there is one? What's the important purpose of this story?
Well, I think that Horizon's story, Real Boil, there's two sides of it. Number one, it's like the classic hero's journey, right? You have like this person who's been plucked from
You can do it,
obscurity who's
Olga.
destined for a
Where's
greater
the
purpose.
tower?
But I
Should be
also
able to
think
cross
that
over.
Horizon is
Aloy!
really a story of
I'm okay.
human potential.
Oh, I'm an
and life
idiot.
versus death.
I'm an idiot.
Where
There was a thing
as
to pull.
humanity, we are so capable of inflicting both things. Where you have the whole story starts with, you know, this like humans
The
rule
tower
the world, but then
should
through
be able to
some
cross
humans'
over.
efforts, the world is brought back again.
But we are
And it's this
going to
struggle
have to
between
jump.
these two kind of
Oh,
those
fuck
who are
off.
really self-interested
After
and those who
you.
are selfless. And I think that's also another thing that kind of is a through line between Silence and Aloy, where one is unapologetically selfish and self-centered, and this other person has dedicated their entire
Tower
life to the service of
Should
others.
be able to cross
So I
over.
think that's going to come to a head probably in the
I'm
third
okay.
game, where Silence figures out a way to execute what he wants to do without the help of Aloy, because they have this very tenuous relationship where they need one another, but they don't necessarily like one another, and they're not even aligned on a lot of different things. So it's a very human story about, you know, some people who are out there striving to do the good work and things that are
Okay,
beneficial,
Olga, your
and
turn.
a lot of people who are asking
Right.
just the question
Yeah.
if we can opposed to if we should, right? Like, this is probably going to be a hot take. I don't think Ted Faro is your classical definition of an evil person. I think that Ted Faro is evil in the sense that his self-interest is so great that nothing else matters, right? He wants to create the greatest line of robots, of robotic peacekeepers that have ever been made, and in order to do that, he doesn't think about any of the repercussions, just what could we slap on these things? They're unhackable, they can, self-replicate, and, it's this whole kind of cocktail of things that just end up being terrible and doom the world. So I think it's just blind ambition and asking the questions,
you can do it.
Should rather than if you can. And I think that through line, especially between Silence and Aloy, is only going to intensify, and those differences are only going to be more apparent in this game, and probably carrying through to a third game.
Yeah, well, the actors even said in a recent, behind-the-scenes sort of making-of trailer about that relationship between Aloy and Silence of, like I said, needing each other, but also being on opposite ends, but they sort of keep coming back to each other. Do you think when we end Forbidden West and lead into whatever comes after, there will be, I feel like there's almost got to be in this game that sort of, a bit of a climax to that relationship where they're
let's keep going.
There's a massive conflict.
I do, and another thing that a lot of people might not realize as well, especially with the story trailer,
the founding date.
Two things are probably going to be prevalent in the third game. Number one is probably the restoration of Apollo, so that way humans have the option of getting all that information and knowledge back, and that could cause a litany of problems. People who accept it, people who don't. But as far as Silence and Aloy go, the fact that Silence has Hades, Aloy doesn't know that, and that is a huge wild card on the table because the whole point of Gaia's destruction is because Hades is designed, by design, and has the ability, just built in, to take over the terraforming system and reverse it back to zero. So that's not like some crazy new ability it has. That's specifically what Hades was designed and meant to do. And you can read more about it in the Hades protocol data point, that Gaia, the control over Hades is pretty minimal. Hades actually needs to be able to control Gaia. So if
According to the legacy,
Aloy brings Gaia back and Hades is still active, Hades could come back and wipe the biosphere back to zero. Okay. Pretty easily. That's by design what it could do. So I think that could be a huge thing in the third game. Essentially, what you saw Hades do in the first game was trying to execute its purpose through the means is still active. Hades actually needs to be able to control Gaia. So if Aloy brings Gaia back, and Hades
we're talking
is
about
still
people's
active,
lives here.
Hades could come back and wipe the biosphere back to zero. Pretty easily. That's by design what it could do. So I think that could be a huge thing in the third game. Essentially, what you saw Hades do in the first game was trying to execute its purpose through the means that it had. It couldn't use the terraforming system, so it used the Pharaoh machines to kind of achieve that end. But that was its ultimate goal. That's its design to do that. But if it has the terraforming system, it doesn't need the Pharaoh machines. It will use Zero Dawn itself to wipe out all life, which would be pretty poetic that the system that is used to bring all life back could absolutely be the doom of life again.
How about you let me worry about that?
Guess Eileen and her father didn't always get along.
You've just, I feel like that's one of my sort of little face to black up. You've just said that line. You've just sort of perfectly timed that, and I'm like, wow. I'm just digesting all this Horizon information right now. Fuck, this series is so good.
I didn't realize how much I do that.
Really brought the hype. You've really brought the hype.
I'm very excited.
I might be able to pull the rubble out from the
There's so much to it to look forward to, and the stakes. I think people forget of this.
I'll look for a way up that has a lesser chance of falling to my death.
And they're only getting higher the more get revealed. Okay. Holy shit! This character we play as Aloy has such an important effect on the whole world and every person in it. And she's just she's an outcast from the Nora tribe, that was born in a cave, really. It's, and she's exploring this world, and wow, it really is a mind-boggling experience in a game. And I when the first Horizon came out,
yes,
seeing the trailers,
there's something I don't get.
Dinosaur weird looking game.
You said Eileen was the one who built Leviathan, not her father.
James and I jumped on because of a Colin Moriarty doing his review of it, and we were blown away from him talking about. We're like, oh yeah, we should play Horizon, and we jumped in and we're like, oh, this is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. I'm like, I think it's such a masterpiece experience that I just.
Okay. Wait, what? What just happened? Oh, fuck. Wait, I'm so confused. Oh, okay, wait. We're back at the beginning. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Now I'm gonna listen to the more recent Four Pillars podcast because I decided to go back and listen to that, like part of the way through that because.
At Booking.com, finding perfect isn't rocket science. Kitchen sorted. Hot tub? Why not? And of course, puppy friendly. We don't like to say perfect, but it's pretty perfect. Booking.com. Booking. Yeah.
Oh, it's like it just instantly loads you. That's kind of funny. And actually, that's also like really impressive. I can even do that.
Hi.
The PC launch, and I think he had like 10,000 subs at the time, maybe a bit less than that. But like, I was like, yeah, dude, for sure. And I watched a couple of this, and I'm like, fuck, he makes really great Horizon videos. It was a fun time. It was really easy to work with, and then I thought, man, I definitely one day we'll get him on the podcast. And that was like two and a half years later, almost, or whatever it was that we finally got him on the podcast to talk to him.
That's a weird fucking jump.
Forbidden West and hype it up, and man, he over-delivered. Like, I was not expecting
It was so fun. We need to get him on again. He's been one of my favourite guests we've had in a long time. He was really good. And he also, like, it wasn't just, like, the fun talking about Horizon. He was also just, like, he was really, like, cool to talk to. It was just really fun.
He loves Star Wars. He was a Lord of the Rings expert. Like, he was, I'm like, this dude's my favorite person. Like, what the fuck?
He was great. He had a good sense of humor too, so it was just like nice to like, you know, joke around and stuff. Yeah, it was a really good episode. So if people haven't listened to that episode, go give it a listen. It's super fun.
And even just some of the like little quips with you and I, James, because you know we've never been around this guy before. He's never seen our dynamic. So and you and I just start ripping into each other and like pretending to have this like abusive relationship with each other, and just to sort of test how he would go with that humor. And he just loved it. He thought it was so funny.
It was good fun.
Like. You know, and when you were calling us brainless idiots for Star Wars fans, just like Sand and Tatooine and Stormtroopers, like, you know, it was just a great episode. And yeah, definitely got me feeling like I knew what was going on. And again, we said this off air, James and I before this, but I literally was like, man, we need to be talking about this while we're recording. But because I think not just having been a big fan of the first game and having platinumed it, but I definitely didn't do all the side like databases or read all that shit. It was random side quests that explained that and got me into that. And
fuck off.
When I've come into this game and it's paying stuff off and it's doing
how am I not dead?
Forerunner, those who came before, old ones as they are in this game, like the way it does that sort of Isu Forerunner shit. I'm like, it's better than in 2 games. It's better than Assassin's Creed's ever done it.
It's more interesting.
There's so much more.
Like, it's way more interesting. Like when we do the spoiler cast, this consistency's unreal. But like when we do the spoiler cast, like the premise behind what's going on here is so crazy that anyone's thought of this.
Yeah,
like, what an angle!
Yeah.
What
and it's executed in such a way.
Like, I assume it's gonna get. I assume it's going to get even crazier. Like, I'm only 12 main quests into the story right now, and it is already quite a lot of crazy shit that I just never thought would happen ever when playing the first game. Like, the scope of the first game is so small in comparison to everything that happens.
Where am I going?
West. Like, it is.
Yeah. Even in like the
crazy.
first 5 hours, something happens in this game, and I'm like, well, that just dwarfed like Zero Dawn and everything in that game. Man.
I think the bit of dialogue. This is a tiny spoiler here. It's a bit of optional dialogue with Val where Aloy talks about Rost, and I think it perfectly encapsulates the story of Forbidden West. She says something along the lines of, "If I were to tell him my goal now, he wouldn't understand it."
Yeah.
It's like if I were to go back in time and tell myself in playing Horizon Zero Dawn what was going to happen in Forbidden West, I just wouldn't know what the fuck's going on.
It's just like so ambitious and so like the scope is so much bigger in it, but it leads you into it in such an engaging way that it doesn't feel out of place. And I think
I don't get where to go.
Like, you know, there's a quest I just played recently that was so cool because it plays into, you know, some major stuff that was just sort of alluded to in Zero Dawn, like through data pads and stuff. Like, we know it exists and we know about it, but then like experiencing that as in through a main quest and it being like something Aloy actually
What?
understands what it is, because obviously she read about it in these data pads and stuff.
Oh,
and so like it's
fuck
those things where I'm like, you don't need to have read those data pads to understand what's happening. But if you did, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe this is what we're doing. Like, it's just
What's it referring
really,
to?
really cool. And I mean, to be fair, it's gonna be a cool moment even if you didn't previously know about it, because
Is it
of
talking about the
context of
flying?
what's happening. So it's, I feel like the way they've managed to do that to pay off people's deep investment and surface level investment at the same time is really quite masterful.
Now, how to
I think it's really, really well executed, and it's just, it seems to be consistent across the entire game.
How about you, Alva? Any luck finding a way up?
It's actually fucking disgusting.
It really is.
Like how good it is. It's putrid. And Georgia, I actually think
That's done.
I know we hate mentioning Assassin's Creed, but I think you really nailed that comparison.
Back at the
Assassin's
shafts.
Creed. It's not an Assassin's Creed
If I
1
blow up that fire room,
It's Assassin's Creed 2 the Brotherhood, where it's like, this might be the
Alva?
best game. This might be the best
Away
game
from the
yet.
shaft.
Like, where it's announced. I think Zero Dawn as its first game is way better than Assassin's Creed.
What the fuck?
Like, it's already an Assassin's Creed 2 level where there's just so much depth to what they've done in their first go at it. And what this has done is just made everything better. You know, like, I think this is a better game than Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult to compare.
It just is.
You know.
It's because we speak in Assassin's Creed terms, we speak in the sense of what it means to us. Like, it's not in terms of game quality, it's like, AC Brotherhood meant a lot to us, and Forbidden West
There you are.
to us because they both
Come on.
respect the game.
Let's see what's up here.
It respects you as the player, like it respects
Hey,
your
it's here.
time and your investment.
Fuck,
and
it's
it,
in
like,
here.
just sort of says thank you, and like that feels meaningful, like, and I think that's quite special.
Next time we'll continue on. No.
And there's also
what's
like,
the name of the
what was
mission?
it? As soon as you start the game, there's a recap.
Yeah, that to me, I was like,
April,
what
the
was the last
project.
time I had one of these?